I want to take a minute to talk about my comic that I made, the process of making it, what I learned, but also kind of what this signifies for me just on my own creative journey and as an artist. So I made my first comic called MOONSTONE, and I finished it up about a month ago, so I would have copies ready for a festival I was doing at Holy Moly with Van. I wanted just to have copies to give away so people could just put their eyeballs on it. I'm pretty pleased with how these turned out. I drew it on my iPad in Procreate, had them printed out at just a local print shop near my house. I finished it in grayscale, so the interior pages are just all black and white, which was fitting just for a zine fest. It's not a super polished, glossy, proper floppy comic book. I'm pretty pleased with how these turned out. I only ended up doing about 12 pages for this first one. And I guess that leads me into my first point I want to talk about with making it, which is that making comics takes a long time. It is a hard thing to do, especially when it's not your full-time job. I have a full-time job, I have a family, so my time to make comics is somewhat limited. I know that's the case for a lot of creators. I'm not trying to garner sympathy or anything, but that's just my situation. Hope people see it and like it. I'm definitely planning on working on more. I think you can tell even from like my first page here to like my later pages that I developed a little bit more confidence in my style and drawing for it. I purposefully picked a kind of easy style to draw this in because since it's my first time ever trying to finish a multi-page complete comic project, I wanted to remove as many mental blocks as I could. So if I thought everything was going to be super complicated to draw, I knew that would slow me down. And that still happened to an extent, especially on things like backgrounds, which was a big learning curve. Just trying to be consistent in my drawings of rooms or drawings of exteriors and stuff. It was quite frankly kind of intimidating at first. It's something that I by no means like feel great about or comfortable with, but it's something that is not as scary as it was when I started. The other thing I learned was to really respect the writing process. I've had this story of Moonstone in my head for a long time, probably about 10 years. To sit down and actually like commit to dialogue and commit to actions, the real act of writing, not just kind of sitting and thinking about what the story could be. That was a big stepping stone as well. And it's not like I didn't respect the writers before. Of course I did, but you learn how difficult that kind of really is. I don't know. I'm happy with this. I definitely plan on doing more. Seeing it now, it's not where I want to be in terms of, it's just not exactly where I'd like to land creatively. I approached it as a learning experience. Right now, moving forward, kind of what I'm thinking is I want to just take a bit of time just to hone in on my rendering skills, hone in on my drawing, and use this as a building block, as a foundation. Try to inject a higher level of artistry and quality into it. Again, not that I think it's bad, but and you're going to be your own worst critic any project you do, but there are just things I'd like to improve upon from this. Obviously, a finished comic is way better than no comic, but I know what areas I want to work on. It might be a little while before you see more, but there will be more. This represents to me kind of a big shift in just my own personal relationship to creating, to drawing, art in general. Last year, about the beginning of 2025, I kind of hit a crossroads where I was really began to feel like I was missing art. My whole childhood and my teen years, I did quite a lot of drawing, and then I played in a band for a while. That kind of scratched that itch. But the last few years, honestly, that took a back seat. Other life events that were important that I'm very happy about, but just they took priority for a little while, and then I was starting to feel that gap again. Kind of jumped back into comics with both feet, just as a fan. And art just as a fan. Realize this is something that I want to keep in my life, and it's been kind of a night and day difference just in terms of my overall mood. Having done this, it's a very fulfilling hobby just to engage with, and gets you out of your head a little bit. It gets you off your phone and off all the crap you see all the time in the news. So it's been a really good leap back into, stuff I really enjoyed growing up and as a kid. As far as drawing goes, I'm still not where I'd like to be. I think I'm okay at drawing. I don't think I'm like very like that great, but I would really like to get pretty good at it. And so moving forward, I want to have more kind of just a dedicated art practice for myself, just to improve, and then come back swinging even harder with more Moonstone. I have other comic projects I'm also working on that will probably be released before more Moonstone comes out. So that's, I guess, just kind of what I wanted to talk about. This is also my first time doing a solo video recording myself, so it feels a little weird, but I'm sure I'll get better at it as time goes on. Check out Holy Moly Studios. Check out Moonstone. And yeah, thanks.